Pangalawang beses na akong bumili nito. Matarik pa nga yung araw kaya medyo may saklob ako sa ulo.
Parang nakakapanghina. Inom ka lang ng tubig, huwag lang malamig.
Bakit daw?
Nakakasama daw yung malamig masyado. Pag ganyan daw, pag may high blood ka, mahirap daw yun.
From the nation's capital, all sides, all the time, I'm Robbie Alampay.
And I'm Gretchen Hall. The big story tonight.
Less than a week after Pag-asa announced the end of the cool amihan season, weather in the Philippines is starting to get really hot. But even before the official dry season begins, the average temperature in the Philippines has been on a steady rise, hovering above 30 degrees Celsius. In this period, we've seen reports of fire incidents and a fire drill gone wrong, with students passing out due to dehydration. The country's heat index, which measures how humans perceive temperature and humidity, is also expected to remain elevated in the coming days. In some parts of the country, like Butuan, Davao, and Zamboanga, the heat index could soar as high as 42 degrees Celsius, maybe even higher.
But how hot is too hot exactly? Well, tolerance to heat is relative, but experts say that any point beyond 40 degrees Celsius could trigger hyperthermia, leading to symptoms like confusion and loss of consciousness. So just a reminder on how to keep cool this summer: always stay hydrated, avoid caffeine. If you're looking for cold drinks, doctors say that fresh buko juice is the best alternative. Try to wear light clothing and stay under the shade for as long as possible.
Here to talk us through how hot the next weeks will be, we have Pag-asa weather forecaster Samuel Duran. Good evening, Mr. Duran. Welcome to the big story.
Yes, good evening.
Sir, umpisa po natin, ay this hot at this particular time in the year, is it too early? Is it too hot? Is there anything out of place with this with the weather that we're feeling right now?
Sir, as of now, hindi naman po unusual no yung nararanasan natin na may init na temperatura dahil usually kapag dating po ng March, talagang nagtutuloy-tuloy na yung ating easterlies. So ito pong easterlies, ang dala-dala po niyang weather system ay yung warm and humid. Na kapag ito po ay nasamahan pa ng medyo matataas na temperature, diyan na po papasok yung ating tinatawag na heat index. So ito po index is ito po yung apparently na nararamdaman natin. So pag pinagsama natin yung warm temperature and then meron pa tayong relative humidity, so ito po ay nagdadagdag ng init na nararamdaman natin because ang katawan po natin, ang defense mechanism niya kapag mainit, dapat mag-perspire, yung pagpawisan. So dahil nga po medyo taas yung content ng water ng hangin, nahihirapan na mag-release ng pawis yung katawan natin. So kaya tayo nagpapaypay, no? So para yung pawis natin mag-evaporate kagad. Kasi evaporation is a cooling process. Now kapag taas yung relative humidity, nahihirapan siya mag-perspire. So mas nadadagdagan yung init na nararamdaman natin.
Sabi niyo po, tuloy-tuloy na to. Ibig sabihin ba, mapapahaba pero ibig sabihin din ba nun, tataas pa ang temperatura?
Yes sir, opo. At mas na-expect pa natin sa mga susunod pa pong buwan, mas tataas pa yung ating heat index dahil nga po yung ating, kumbaga yung isang phenomenon natin, yung astronomical phenomenon, papunta pa tayo sa tinatawag nating solstice, no? Itong solstice, yung masahaba pa yung umaga o yung duration ng sunlight sa mga susunod pa pong buwan. So yan po yung mas nararamdaman pa natin na mas tataas pa yung ating heat index and more likely mas magiging prone pa sa mga heat cramps at yung mga kung ano-ano pa pong health problems na mararanasan natin.
Sir, tama po ba na 2 taon po tayo nasa La Nina, tapos ngayon lang po tayo nag-shift to El Nino, and what does that mean for the weather?
Yes, Ma'am Gretchen. No? So sa ngayon although sa ngayon po ay nasa neutral condition pa naman tayo, and then in-expect natin sa mga susunod pa pong buwan ay maaring hanggang nasa neutral phase pa. And by August, expect natin na medyo mas lalapit into a El Nino phase. Pero sa ngayon po ay nasa neutral condition pa naman tayo.
May aasahan po ba tayong pag-ulan? Because I think water is also an issue now for the Philippines or Metro Manila.
So far po sa ngayon, Ma'am Gretchen, halos easterlies natin kasi ang halos magbibigay ng paulan lamang ay nasa eastern portion ng ating bansa. No, ang ina-expect natin ngayon sa mga susunod na buwan ay yung passage ng tropical cyclone. Pero most likely, kapag napasukan pa tayo ng ridge of high pressure area, mas mababa pa po yung tsansa ng mga pag-ulan. So most likely, hindi masyadong maulan ng mga susunod natin mga araw at buwan.
Mag-ipon na ng tubig.
Dapat lang. Okay, maraming salamat po, Mr. Duran. Samuel Duran po ng Pag-asa. Now, aside from water concerns, there is also the threat of power outages this dry season. The National Grid Corporation of the Philippines is warning of possible power interruptions after the Energy Regulatory Commission, the ERC, denied its request for month-on-month extensions of its ancillary service agreements. These service agreements support the transmission of power from generators to consumers, and they're necessary to maintain reliable operations. The grid operator says that their request was denied after they opened bids for ancillary services this month. The NGCP expects to formally grant contracts next month, but the provisional approval from the ERC could be out by June at the earliest. The grid operator says that this current setup poses danger to the transmission system. The NGCP has written to the Department of Energy to intervene ahead of the possible power outages that could be expected in the coming months.
Right after the break, the spread of the African swine fever is now prompting concerns of a possible shortage in pork supply. We will speak with Pork Producers Federation of the Philippines Chairman and AGA Party List Representative Nicanor Briones about this. When the big story returns, keep it here on One News. You're still watching the big story here on One News. Some 18 million pesos in cash and multiple firearms were seized by authorities in a raid on a sugar mill allegedly owned by former Negros Oriental Governor Pride Teves. Pride is the brother of Congressman Arnie Teves, who the DOJ is now suspecting to be one of the masterminds in the Digamos slay. Marlene Alcaide with a report.
Using a backhoe, CIDG personnel dug up a part of this 50-hectare vacant lot in HDJ Bayawan Tolong compound in Santa Catalina, Negros Oriental, a mill allegedly owned by former Negros Oriental Governor Pride Teves. This is supposedly the area where witnesses say they were asked to bury ammunition. After digging a 10-foot hole, authorities were able to recover long and short firearms and explosives. The Joint Task Force says the firearms they found in the compound have been buried for quite some time now. These include 6 rifles, 9 pistols, and over 9,000 rounds of live ammunition. 3 individuals were also arrested at the mill, 2 security guards, and 1 fire truck driver. However, Pride, who is now the president of the company that owns the sugar mill and the subject of the search warrant, was not in the compound during the raid. Pride is the brother of Negros Oriental 3rd District Representative Arnie Teves, who is being linked to the killing of Governor Roel Degamo. Aside from the firearms, the CIDG also seized some 18 million pesos in cash from the sugar mill so it can be used as evidence.
Ang kanila namang sinabi is andun siya sa pinaginalaang crime scene. They don't have the interest on the money, but they have to account kung mayroon ba itong kinalaman.
The evidence seized, as well as the 3 suspects, were taken to the CIDG headquarters. But authorities clarify the search warrant does not pertain to the Degamo Slay case, but is meant for the seizure of illegal firearms.
To dismantle armed groups. Those firearms, not licensed firearms, then this could have been also a source of yung stability doon sa area. Kaya kami, as a Joint Task Force Negros, we appreciate yung naging ginawa ng CIDG na haluglugin yung area na yon.
Pride Teves says, though, that he only owns 10% of the corporation, which led him to believe that he was the only target of the CIDG.
I am the president because most of the stockholders are Manila-based and ako may pinaka-experience sa sugar milling.
Meanwhile, the Justice Department is looking at 2 to 3 masterminds in the killing of Degamo. Justice Secretary Remulla says one of the suspected masterminds is Congressman Teves.
Congressman Teves texted me. I think they're considered, they're being considered as masterminds, but I don't know yet. I have to get it from the panel of prosecutors. But right now, the way it's progressing, that's the direction we're heading to.
Remulla says the DOJ will also call on Pride Teves to attend the preliminary investigation in relation to the explosives found in the sugar mill. For News 5, Marlene Alcaide, we are One News.
Processing of insurance claims from the oil spill in Oriental Mindoro has started, but it seems not enough word got out. Mon Gualvez tells us more.
Residents affected by the massive oil spill in Oriental Mindoro can now start processing claims over the incident. The provincial capital in Calapan City, Oriental Mindoro set up a small room in the ground floor for the processing of claims, but until late afternoon on Monday, no one came. Because of this, the provincial government will be setting up caravans in affected localities so that residents won't have to travel far. Those qualified to claim insurance are residents whose properties were damaged due to the oil spill. Residents who lost their jobs and those who spent money for cleanup are also set to be reimbursed. Claimants can apply as an individual, a corporation, or a business entity. Affected LGUs may also file for application. However, there are still no clear details on how much claimants will actually get. But the insurance company of the sunken oil tanker assured that qualified claimants will be covered. This includes over 20,000 fishermen who still can't go out to sea. According to authorities, they still cannot allow fishing until they are sure that it is safe.
Ang pasihan ng aming pagdesisyon ay ayon din po sa siyensya. Pero kapag nakita po natin na talagang ligtas na rin po naman, wala ng mga bakas ng petrolyo, maging stamp ng isda, magbibigay po kaagad tayo ng rekomendasyon sa lokal na pamahalaan.
The Philippine Coast Guard also wouldn't want to take chances. The PCG said they are fast-tracking the cleanup and that a special equipment to be used for oil extraction will arrive on Thursday. The agency said they're looking to stick to President Bongbong Marcos's target deadline of 4 months for the cleanup. For News 5, Mon Gualvez, we are One News.
One environmental science professor is concerned that the oil spill in Oriental Mindoro could become more toxic this dry season. Professor Hernando Bacosa of the Mindanao State University Iligan warns that the oil spill may cause various illnesses to affected residents, including cancer, if not contained soon. To address this, Bacosa says the extent of the oil spill's damage should be immediately determined. Now, at the moment, authorities have yet to contain the industrial oil that's leaking from the MT Princess Empress, which sank February 28. Bacosa also suggested conducting drills in addition to investing in equipment that can fast-track cleanup and response operations in the event of another oil spill.
We have to invest po sa itong ROV na galing ng Japan. And then we have to organize ourselves as a strong force po to respond to oil spills. So kung may earthquake drill tayo, kahit siguro once or twice a year, meron tayong oil spill drill na alam natin ang gagawin kung ano mang makadeploy ba tayo ng ganitong technology, at least alam natin.
The government is reportedly preparing for a possible rice and pork supply shortage in the coming months. The reason for the possible rice shortage, according to experts and officials, is the onset of El Nino. That's the weather phenomenon that could lead to a dry spell. Agriculture Assistant Secretary and Deputy Spokesman Rex Estoperes says the DA is treating El Nino just like other calamities, as its effects on agricultural production could be similar to that of typhoons. Estoperes adds that while Pag-asa says that the impact of the drought would be felt in Visayas and Mindanao, necessary preparations are being started throughout the country, including Luzon. Meanwhile, the Bureau of Animal Industry is projecting a possible pork shortage in the country due to the African swine fever. Based on their data, at least 15 regions are affected by ASF. The National Livestock Program projects pork supply to fall short by 46,000 metric tons of the needed 145,800 metric tons this coming June. The agency says the shortage in June will last at least 39 days, but as early as next month, the country is projected to experience a possible deficiency in pork supply of at least 11 days.
Here to talk to us on the possible pork shortage in the country, we have with us live via Zoom Pork Producers Federation of the Philippines Chairman and AGA Party List Representative Nicanor Briones. Good evening. Welcome to The Big Story.
Good evening, Gretchen and Ruby. Good evening sa lahat na inyong mga taga-subaybay.
Okay, sir, 3 years na po natin pinoproblema itong ASF. Cebu Governor Gwen Garcia has voiced out against the culling done, yung 500-meter radius na yan. What exactly are we not getting right in this scenario?
Yun nga, medyo hindi tama yung ginawang protocol. Masyadong malawak nung una, 1 kilometer, and then ginawang 500-meter radius. So lahat na nasasakop na alagang baboy kapag merong isang outbreak sa area, ay lahat yun ay kinakatay o pinapatay. So even yung mga walang sakit, ang dapat talaga, tama si Governor Gwen, ang mag-test at kung alin lang yung positive sa ASF, ayun lang ang dapat nating i-destroy o patayin. And then hayaan na may benta sa merkado yung mga wala namang sakit na ASF. At yan ang naging dahilan kung bakit napakarami ng natatakot. Halimbawa, may tama yung isang barangay and then yung next barangay ay sakop ng 500 meters, definitely yung lahat ng baboy doon ibebenta na. Maging yan man hindi pa pambenta, kasama na yung mga inahin. At talaga naging dahilan kung bakit mabilis na ubos ang ating mga alagang baboy sa Luzon at ngayon nga sa Visayas and Mindanao.
Sir, sa inyo pong tansya at taya, may ilang porsyento po ang sasabihin nyo na hindi naman sana kinailangan ikal kung sakaling kayo ang masusunod?
Kung yan ay pinatupad simula pa noon, sa 50% na nawala, siguro yung tinamaan ng ASF baka 10 to 15% lang 35% ang talagang mabilisang ibinenta dahil natatakot sila na yan nga ay patayin ng government, ay wala naman silang natatanggap na ayuda o bayad. Na noong umpisa pa lang, noong 2019, sinabi na natin, kahit anong ganda ng inyong biosecurity, ng inyong protocol na ginagawa para mapigil ang ASF, kung wala kayong pondo para bayaran yung mga tinatamaan ng ASF, ay sigurado, baliwala yan at mauubos ang baboy sa buong bansa. At yun na nga nangyari. 50% na sa ngayon, kung hindi pa rin babaguhin nga yung protocol at hindi pa rin sila magbabayad sa tinatamaan ng ASF, talagang darating ang araw mauubos ang baboy dito sa ating bansa.
Sir, in effect, ang sinasuggest nyo po ay dapat mas selective ang pagkal at saka at the very least liitan yung radius. Tama po ba? Pero kung ganun po ang gagawin, ano po ang magiging patakaran? Anong protocol? Are you saying liitan lang yung radius or talagang selective case by case ang culling? At kung ano man ang opsyon, kaya bang i-monitor yon?
Okay lang na within 500 meter radius. Basta siguraduhin lang nila, i-test nila yung mga baboy. Kung saan lang kung alin lang yung positive, yun ang patayin. At kung hindi naman, ipabayaang alagaan at ibenta. So, sa ganyan, hindi matatakot. Patuloy na mag-aalaga ang marami nating mga magbababoy. At siguraduhin na yung kinatay ay bayaran nila. Ang sinasuggest ko, 10,000 per head. Kasi yan, mga more or less 50% ng production cost ay aabot na ng mga 10,000 pesos. Kaya yun ang dapat gawin dahil pagka hindi natin ginawa yan, yung natitira 50%, unti-unting mauubos na naman yan. Dahil patuloy, ang ASF, wala namang nagdideklara. Ang akala natin, wala nang ASF, walang outbreak. Pero ang totoo, pabalik-balik sa iba't ibang sa Luzon, Visayas, and Mindanao.
Sir, sa tingin niyo po ba, dahil po yan sa mainit na panahon, ano po ba yung I'm not so aware about how ASF spreads around. Ano po ba yung behavior nung virus, nung sakit po na yun?
Ang ASF kasi, contact, basta nakahawa ka ng may virus na ASF, na nakapunta ka sa iyong alagang baboy, ay yan ay malaki ang posibilidad na mahawa na ng ASF. So, ang naging malaking problema kaya mabilis kumalat dahil yung mga ibinebenta na mabilisan kapag halimbawa may tinamaan na isang baboy nagkasakit, namatay, kahit hindi na niya ipatetes yun kung ASF, kung ano man pagka nakita lang niya yung mga signs, kaagad yun, ibebenta ng lahat yung alaga niyang baboy doon sa kanyang farm. At kung yan ay positive, definitely kakalat talaga. Dahil mahahawakan ng maraming tao. Kung ang makakahawak diyan ay may alagang baboy, sigurado mahahawa na. So yan ang dahilan, kaya napakabilis kumalat dahil hindi sinusurrender yung mga may tamang baboy.
Sir, huling tanong na lang po, linawin ko lang po kasi kanina nabanggit nga ni Gretchen, 3 taon na natin pinag-uusapan ng ASF. Pabugso-bugso lang po ba to at paiba-iba? Or ito pa rin yung pinag-uusapan natin 3 years ago?
Ito pa rin yung pinag-uusapan natin 3 years ago. Na sabi ko nga, nung mag-umpisa, pag hindi kayo naglaan ng pondo, ang inihiling natin noon, 10% ng interpopulation times 5,000, yun ang initial na hinihingi natin, per head, yun ang ilaan. Wala daw pondo, ang sinasabi, kung ipupunduhan yung interpopulation ng industry ay hindi kaya. Pero dapat at least 10%. Ngayon, ang sinasuggest natin ay yung 10% na natitirang alagang baboy ay lagyan ng pondo at bayaran ng 10,000 per head. Dahil yung mga baboy na kahit na alam ng mga bumibili na may tama, nabibenta yan ng 8 to 10,000 pesos. Lahatan, wala ng timbangan. Kung ilan yung laman ng farm, ay binebenta lahat yun.
Sir, huli lang totoo po ba na we are headed for a pork shortage? How are we on that end?
Ay sigurado yun kasi lalo na dito sa Metro Manila at Luzon at even do sa Visayas and Mindanao kasi yung mga nagdi-deliver dito na galing Iloilo, yan maraming galing Iloilo, galing Cebu, galing General Santos, magkakaroon na rin na shortage sila doon Dahil sigurado tuloy-tuloy yung tama ng ASF dahil doon sa kanilang area. At wala nang makakarating na baboy dito galing dyan sa Visayas and Mindanao na siyang nagsusupply kapag may kakot. Kung papapansin ninyo, ang bilis tumaas ng baboy. Ang farm gate price dito sa Batangas ay 215 pesos na galing sa 180 pesos per kilo. At ito'y tataas pa pagkatapos ng Holy Week, mas lalaki ang demand, nagkukulang ang local na baboy, hindi naman gusto ng mamamayan, in spite na nasa 700 million kilos na. Ang na-import ay kulang pa rin at patuloy na tumataas dahil mali yung policy ng government na import lang ng import, ang hindi nila sinusolusyonan ay yung pinagmumula ng problema ay ASF.
Maraming salamat po. Pork Producers Federation of the Philippines Chairman and AGA Party List Representative Nicanor Briones. After the break, Several motorists were issued tickets for violating the exclusive motorcycle lane along Commonwealth Avenue in Quezon City after the protocol became official today after a 2-week dry run. We will look into that and more when the big story returns. Keep it here on One News.
You're still watching the big story here on One News.
The MMDA started its full implementation of the exclusive motorcycle lane along Commonwealth Avenue today, and yes, violators were now issued tickets. According to the agency's memorandum circular, the first lane from the sidewalk along Commonwealth Avenue will be dedicated to bicycles. The lane for PUVs will be the one between the bicycle lane and the lane for motorcycles. And then lanes 4 to 9 of Commonwealth Avenue from the sidewalk may be utilized by all other motor vehicles. The MMDA also set different fines for violators. PUV drivers will be fined 1,200 pesos, motorcycle drivers 500 pesos, and then other drivers will be fined 500 pesos as well. Now for the question, will motorists be fined if they were to turn into side streets or intersections? Well, motorists should take note of the transition lanes markings on the road, which lanes changing is only allowed. For vehicles using U-turn slots, it's only allowed to switch lanes at least 200 meters away from the U-turn slot. The MMDA says more than 1,200 motorists were apprehended today.
And before we go, more devotees are expected to head to the Antipolo Cathedral this coming Holy Week as the church has been declared the country's first international shrine. The church's ranking elevation came straight from the Vatican after over a year-long campaign. The Antipolo LGU is expecting more devotees to flock to the shrine, especially with the return of Alay Lakad after 3 years. About 13 million people are expected to participate in the event, 3 times more than the number of participants recorded in 2019. In a statement, the president said he hopes this declaration will deepen the faith of Filipino Catholics. A Vatican official is expected to arrive in the country in July for the solemn declaration of Antipolo Cathedral's elevation.
And that is the big story tonight. For more updates, follow News 5, The Philippine Star, and Business World Online. You may also log on to onenews.ph for more analysis. I'm Robbie Alampay.
The big story is also available via Signal Play app. Make a free account now, signalplay.com, and stream One News anytime, anywhere. I'm Gretchen Ho. Stay safe, Philippines.
We are One News, all sides, all the time.